Hello. How's everybody doing today? We're back in for more Wrath of the Righteous auto build judgments. Today, as you probably saw on the title screen, Nenio, Daeran, and Ulbrig are our fucking peoples that we're doing. We'll start off with Nenio, then we're gonna go to Daeran. And we gotta switch saves to head over to. Oh, my microphone is about 2 miles away. Let's fix that. Hi. Oh, God damn it. I think this is why I chose a different save, is because of this. So I didn't have to do this every single time. Yes, we will do this one. We also have a very affectionate kitty with us today. And Johnny Cat is here to cuddle as we go through and talk about all these auto builds. Hi. I love you. Good. Let's get this fixed up. All right. So, where is Nenio? There you are. All right, so going through Nenio, let's get a look at what she is first. Keen Kitsune, +2 dex, +2 intelligence, -2 strength. I think for a basic wizard, I think dex and intelligence are probably the most important ones, potentially constitution as well. But I think having honestly, I think that Keen Kitsune is probably one of the best races for a wizard. Unless you're going for something weird, like I can't remember which one it is, but I'm pretty sure there's a wizard that goes off of wisdom instead of intelligence. But it is what it is. This is a completely useless background. She already has scribe scrolls as a wizard. See this right here? She gets scribe scrolls for free regardless. So that doesn't help. UMD and Knowledge Arcana are both wizard skills already. So this is a completely useless background, but it's kind of what we have come to expect from Owlcat auto builds, right? We have come here. I just realized how high up that camera was pointing. Yeah, this is kind of an expected failure on Owlcat's auto builds at this point. They definitely go for RP over everything. And it's only every once in a while that RP is actually useful. Hi. I give Kitty a kiss. Hey, Afro, these backgrounds are very useful. Yeah, exactly. Wizard, Scroll Savant. Half his class level as a bonus to UMD. Always take 10 on UMD checks. If it's enough. Okay, so these are things that I actually want to... Using his intelligence modifier instead of the minimum. Okay. Uses on caster level. High. On caster level instead of the items caster level when using a scroll. Okay. And then 2 wizard bonus feats here at 15 and 20. So yeah, not a whole lot. We get Blinding Ray and Invisibility Field. Blinding Ray... The vast majority of the time in this game, you're going to be dealing with enemies that are higher level than you. So it's basically just going to only ever be dazzled. Unless you're using this on... also, even if it hits and it does blind, it's only for 1 round. So I consider this to be pretty useless. Um, like if they were both rounds per level, that would be something different, right? Yeah, Scroll Savant, I think, is probably the worst. The worst archetype for wizards. I'd have to look over them again. It's been a long time since I looked over all of the wizard archetypes, but I think Scroll Savant is probably the worst. Um, she does have Arcane Bond. She does not have a familiar, and yeah, starts off with Spell Focus, Illusion, and Spell Penetration. Now, I don't think that we really need Spell Penetration at level 3. I'm trying to think if there is literally any enemies that have Spell Pen that early. I think there might be like 2 that you run into at this point in the game. But yeah, not really anything that is that great. Now, looking at these here stats, dumped the fuck out of strength, which I agree with. Pretty good dex. Maxed out intelligence. That makes sense. And the fact that it starts at a 19 means that we will be ending up on an even intelligence number. I would have liked to see charisma dumped as well. If we're going for a full optimization, I would dump charisma and then either bring dex up to 16 or bring con up to 14. I think you would be able to do both of one of those. And then I'm pretty sure you would have like 1 extra point or something like that. Don't like using your scrolls. I forget that I have scrolls unless I am very specifically planning to use scrolls in a very specific place and time. Yeah, so she has all of the knowledges. She has UMD, and then for extra points she's putting into lore religion. And then so we don't have blur or invisible. Okay, so let's take a look at what spell she has. Now, she is a wizard, and this is actually something that somebody brought up on the video that I did recently. I think it was literally last week's when I was talking about Woljif. They did mention that his spell selection doesn't matter nearly as much as it normally would for somebody like a bard or a sorcerer, because he can just learn from scrolls. That is something that I did forget to mention last week. But I would also like to talk about these builds as they are presented. And as presented, his spell list was not great. So we are going to judge this build as well in the same way. We are going to pretend that learning from scrolls does not exist, but that is something to keep in mind. You can add spells to these builds. So level 1, Enlarge Person, Expeditious Retreat, Mage Armor, Snowball, Sleep, Magic Missile, Summon Monster, Color Spray, Vanish, and Shield. No Reduce Person. That's like the one thing that I'm sitting here and noticing. There's no Reduce Person here on her level 1s. I would get rid of Summon Monster 1. And instead of that, I would put in Reduce Person. It's a very good spell. It's the only one that helps out Dex characters. Like, so if we're talking about like Enlarge Person, that gets upgraded later on, right? If you don't get Enlarge Person at level 1 on a character, like, and say you get a character and they start off at a very high level for whatever reason, and you don't get Enlarge Person at level 1, if you have Legendary Proportions, that just replaces Enlarge Person, right? There is no such replacement for Reduce Person unless you go Trickster on your main character. That's the only time that you can get a better version of Reduce Person. So I think that Reduce Person is arguably more important to have than enlarge person in the late game. But for the most part, she has all of the. I'm gonna release my arm from you, kitty. The only thing that I was thinking is potentially color spray, or not color spray, sorry. Maybe replacing sleep with something like burning hands, for a bit of AoE damage early on. You don't have a whole lot of sources of AoE. Ember has burning hands. But I think that in this early game, you know, you fight a fair number of swarms, especially when you get to like the leper smile. There's a lot of Vescivore swarms. I think you run into enough swarms that having another source of damaging AoE really early on is important. Acid Arrow, Create Pit, Mirror Image, and Stone Call. Mirror Image is obviously very, very powerful. Create Pit, again, is also very, very powerful. You could use this to great effect in Canabras, especially in the in defense, where you got to defend your base from all of the waves of the monsters and the cultists and all that. Create Pit can literally just block off an entire approach area and just delete those enemies from the fight for an extended period. Things that we could have taken instead. Obviously, blur and invisibility are up here at top. We do have mirror image. So that does kind of lessen the importance of these two. If there are other options that we could take. We took Acid Arrow and Stone Call this level. Stone Call is another source of AoE damage that can help with things like swarms and stuff like that. So there is that. I will admit to that. I'm not a huge fan of this because it does leave the difficult terrain, which just slows everybody down, and I like to go fast in these games. If we're looking at AoE, we could have gone with Burning Arc. Obviously the buff spells are always a good choice. Glitter Dust is a great spell. I love it a lot. There's also always Scorching Ray and Sense Vitals is a really good combo to get a shit ton of damage for single target. Don't take summons. I don't like summons in this game. Summons in Pathfinder are very, very weak, unfortunately. And then, yeah, there's all the ones that she's not going to be taking because they are her bad class, her bad school. So we're not going to even look at these. We're not going to even look at these. I wouldn't even say that animal aspect is really worth taking for her. Like, for a lot of people, I'm like, yeah, animal aspect, and then you take mythic shapeshifter, and then you get the free bonus to all of your physical stats. Well, her physical stats don't really matter that much. So that's far less useful for her than it would be for melee fighter. But also, she's a Kitsune. If you just use the Kitsune transformation, that counts. And then you can just get it for completely free for her. But yeah, of the spells that she has access to, I would probably have gone, like me personally, I would have gone with Scorching Ray Sense Vitals, but I think I have an I think I might have a bias towards those spells just a little bit. They are incredibly useful in the Kingmaker speedrun. Actually, less so nowadays than they used to be, but they are still useful. We used to use it a lot, but now we only use it on one fight, I think. maybe 1 or 2 fights. We also just don't really have that many fights to begin with. But I do like me some Scorching Ray Sense Vitals, but she also does not have point blank precise shot to help with her ray spells. So I would actually considering that, I don't really like Acid Arrow here. I would probably have swapped out Acid Arrow for Glitter Dust, honestly. If I were to try and swap out either of these spells, I would swap out Acid Arrow for Glitter Dust. Or maybe Burning Arc. Either Glitter Dust or Burning Arc. Alright. Level 5. Still boosting up all these same spells. Taking greater spell focus. Illusion. So the first time I played with Nenio, I literally built her to be just a blaster caster. I highly underestimated just how good things like Phantasmal Killer or Weird would be on somebody like her. In my most recent playthrough, I did not make that mistake, and yeah, she's fucking busted. Yeah. The thing about Nenio is you can get her spell DCs so damn high that she is very likely to get her spells to land. Unless you're fighting against, like, fucking bosses. That's, like, the only time where it's not gonna happen. But you're also not supposed to be able to get off save or die spells on a boss. Like, that's kind of, again, negates the challenge of that boss fight, right? How do I feel about haste and displacement? Yeah, I think this is fine. I think this is fine. Displacement is the only illusion spell at level 3, so if you want to make use of your if you want to make use of your school spell slot, then you have to take it for 1. And 2, displacement is also just a really good fucking spell. Haste is literally one of the best buff spells in the game. I'm just trying to think if there's anything better that we could take here. I don't think there is, really. I don't really think that there's anything better than these two for us to take here. I'm pretty sure this is the best first 2 level 3 spells. So yeah, we're just going to continue onwards. We do pick up scroll specialization here. Not really that useful. Well, not really that relevant because it's obviously not a choice. Just something that we get. Fireball Heroism. I actually kind of really like this. It's a really big source of AoE damage, which, again, you don't have access to a whole lot of, but we also just hit level 6, which means we're going to get our first mythic level here. Heroism also, like, one of the best buff spells in the game, so very glad to see us picking that up. Although, I'm not entirely sure how many level 3 spell slots we want to devote to Heroism or Fireball. Like, there's a lot of... You want many casts of this spell, right? If Nenio's gonna be your haste bot, you're gonna basically want all of your level 3 spells to be haste. Less so later on, you can, because you know it extends the duration, you don't have to cast it as often, so you don't need as many castings of it. But like at this, it's only 6 rounds, which means you're basically going to be casting it for every fight. Or damn near, if you want to have haste up for all of your combats, right? Heroism is the same way. A lot of spell slots are going to be dedicated to heroism, because you're going to want to get all of your physical damage dealers. At the very least, you want to have all of your physical damage dealers to have heroism on them, right? You want to get that +2 to attacks, and then to a lesser extent the saves at this point, right? There's not that many like super dangerous spells that are being used at this point, right? You're still in Canabras, you haven't even left Canabras yet. There's not really anything that's hyper dangerous right now for saves, so that's a bit of a secondary thing, and the skill checks is just kind of whatever. The main thing I think is the attack rolls, trying to get over some of those tankier enemies, being able to dish out that damage more consistently. But if you want to do that, you're probably going to have what, like maybe 3 or 4 people in your party that are going to want to be heroismed. So that's 4 spell slots for heroism before you even get any other spells. And then like you just load up the rest of your spell slots with fireball, I guess, or maybe displacement as well. Like there's a lot of spells here that all are really greedy with their spell slot usage, right? It's not like something like mage armor, right? Mage armor is a one and done. You need it on your spell bar once, maybe twice, and then you're good until your next rest. You're not going to need more than 1 or 2. Is a utility bot until Phantasmal? Yeah. It's just like, what utility is the question here, right? Like, which of these spells do you want to focus on? Because you can't do all of them. She doesn't have enough spell slots to do all of them as often as you want them to be. Not yet, anyway. And like even heroism, you might need to recast it, right? Because oh no, wait, heroism is 10 minutes per level. I'm sorry, it's greater heroism that is minutes per level. That's right. I forgot heroism was 10 minutes per level. So actually, this one is pretty much a one and done as well. Because at this point, at level 6, it's literally an hour. But yeah, that's kind of the one. That's kind of like the one worry that I have about her spells right now, is that she's not going to quite have enough cast spell slots to cast all the spells that she's going to want to cast, right? Now the thing is, yeah, there's abundant casting. That helps a ton, obviously. Another thing, like what did I say before? I said you're probably going to want to have 4 heroisms. This adds 4 spells per spell rank, per spell level. So there's all your heroisms right here. Yeah, the good thing about Nenio is she doesn't really have a need for Ascendant Element as much as most other damaging casters, because she is going to be using mostly illusion spells, which don't do elemental damage. Things like Phantasmal Killer. And then higher levels of Phantasmal Killer, basically. Until she gets up to Weird, which is basically just AoE Phantasmal Killer. So you don't really need Ascendant Element, which actually just helps a lot because it saves an entire mythic ability that she just doesn't need to give a fuck about, right? So abundant casting, really, really important for her. And I'm really happy that they picked that first. Uh, yeah, greater spell pen. That's fine. I don't really think that there's anything else that she really needs at this point in the game. Um, it is doubling down on spell pen by level 7, which may or may not be necessary, but it is now done and you don't have to worry about it for the rest. The question is there something that you could have used besides this at this point in the game? She doesn't get any of her super deadly spells until literally this level. You could see here that icon right there that is Phantasmal Killer. So she's going to be getting that this level. So like improved initiative is a very powerful option for her at this point because it would allow her to get her insta-kill spells out much faster. I don't think that she should really be taking any meta magics yet because as Afro mentioned in chat, the one spell that you're really going to want to focus a lot of meta magics on, and specifically this one right here, Heighten, so that we can boost the save DC of it. What's up, Igor? Yeah, so we're gonna want to take. I would be very upset if we don't get Heightened spell, or Persistent spell. Persistent spell would also be a good one. Yeah, I think that this is like one of the few builds where I would say that Heighten is kind of a requirement because she focuses so much of her combat utility comes from landing Phantasmal Killer that we need to get its spell its save DC as high as possible, and Heighten is how we do that, but we don't need that yet. Persistent is better than Heightened. So the thing about, so I actually did not know this until actually relatively recently. I probably knew it at some point, but I did not know that it I must have forgotten it at some point. I did not realize that most meta magics don't adjust the saving throw DC of the spell that we're using it on. Did not realize that. The only one that boosts the save DC is Heightened. Feel like Persistent is better than Heightened? Yes. But I would say that both are necessary for this build. You would want Heighten for level 5. No, they should not. No, they should not. It's actually part of Heighten's meta magic. That, yeah, see, it specifically says, unlike other meta magic feats, Heightened spell actually increases the effective level of the spell it modifies. All effects dependent on spell level, such as saving throw DCs and ability to penetrate a lesser level of invulnerability, are calculated according to the Heightened level. Yeah. Yeah, so that's not a bug. It's not anything bad. That's just how they are designed. Meta magics do not increase the save DC of the spell they are being used on, except for Heighten, which is why Heighten is really, really important for this. But yeah, if we're using Heighten at level, or if we're wanting to boost up, and Persistent is a +2. So level increase +2 for Persistent. So if we're looking at Heighten, we can use Heighten to get it to level 5. Which most level 5 spells are kind of meh for this class. Like, none of them really matter that much. There is, what is it? Phantasmal Web. But I would rather get off a Phantasmal Killer than a Phantasmal Web, if I'm going to be completely honest. And then we can use Persistent at level 6. And then from level 7 onwards, where is... Weird. Weird is level 9, isn't it? Or is it level 8? Level 9. Okay. Yeah, there it is. I don't know, like there's literally no like organization to these spells, this listing. I thought it was going to be fucking alphabetical. And then I look at it, it's like Overwhelming Presence, Icy Prison, Mass Shades, Tsunami, Power Word Kill. It's like they're just bouncing all over the fucking place. So yeah, like Heighten for level 5, Persistent for level 6, and then both of them for 7 and 8. To keep, like, you could literally just get Phantasmal Killer to be such an insanely powerful fucking spell. But yeah, all of that to say, that all comes later. Greater Spell Pen is really good for now. We get Shadow Conjuration, we get Phantasmal Killer. I think I would have preferred something like Dimension Door. Or maybe even Greater Invisibility. Yeah, I would have said either Greater Invisibility or Dimension Door over Shadow Conjuration. You do want, you know, somebody with multiple casts of Dimension Door when you get to Illusionira. And Nenio's not a terrible pick for it. If nothing else, it would be good to teach her Dimension Door so that she could start making scrolls of it. And then she can use those without having to have that spell prepped. So I would not have taken Shadow Conjuration here. I would have taken something else. Expanded Arsenal, Magic Tool, Evocation. I'm perfectly okay with this. Eventually we should get both Spell Focus and Spell Penetration Mythic. I don't know if they're absolutely necessary just yet. I think for right now, getting Expanded Arsenal Evocation is actually really powerful. This allows us to get... This basically gets us 2 free feats. 2 freets. Sorceress Reflex. Reaction Haste at the beginning of a battle is nothing to sneeze at. Sir, you should have had haste cast before the battle starts. I personally do not like... So I don't like this for the same reason that I don't like Quickens meta magic or anything like that. I don't like swift action spells in real time. In turn-based, this is incredibly powerful. In real time, it's really annoying. I don't know if they ever fixed it. They might have fixed it at some point. The reason that I don't like Quicken meta magic spells or anything like that is because once, in my experience, which I have not tried this in a very long time, so they might have fixed it, but every time I try to use a quickened spell, a swift action spell, after I cast the spell, instead of casting the auto cast spell that I have set up for that character, they would just start auto attacking. And if that character has a staff in their hand, because it's boosting up some kind of spell DC or whatever, that wizard would then run into melee and start beating people with a fucking stick instead of casting their spells. Until the next turn where they would cast a spell, provoke attacks of opportunity, and fucking die. That's why I don't like quicken spells. That's why I don't like swift action spells. That's my experience with it. If they fix that, then I am wrong. If they did not fix that, then fuck these spells. In real time. In real time. As I said earlier, in turn-based, this is very, very powerful. In real time, not so much. But yeah, I really like Expanded Arsenal here. I like it a lot. Expanded Arsenal is also going to make Spell Focus Mythic far more potent. Because it gives both, after we have spell, whatever the fuck, Expanded Arsenal. This now basically gives us a plus 10% to land our spells for 2 schools instead of just 1. Very, very strong. I like it a lot. We are now, yep, full. Yeah, and for whatever reason, it's Trickery, Perception, and Persuasion that we get these 3 points to, not Lore Religion. I don't know why Owlcat does that. That's so fucking weird. Instead of focusing all of their skill points to max out the skill that they're already putting points into, they spread it out into multiple others. None of these are... Also, who the fuck would ever use Nenio for a trickery check? Nobody. Not a single human. Not a single human would ever use Nenio for trickery. Never. Terrible. Terrible. All of these. Should put it into Lore Religion. Could make her an arcane trickster like Octavia. Does she need like 5 points in that to do that, or am I thinking of a different class? I might be thinking of Dragon Disciple. No, Arcane Trickster also needs you to have 5. I think it's 5 points. Is it 4 points? Okay. Get out of here then with your nonsense. She doesn't have any immobility, so get fucked. We have now taken the least... Okay. Hold up. This isn't actually that bad of a spell. Dazed is a pretty powerful effect. Basically just they're stunned. Don't get Dazed and Dazzled confused. Dazzled is shit. Dazed is actually really good. It's all Phantasmal anyway. That is true. That is true. You are going to want to spam Phantasmal Killer on level 4. I would still like to have Dimension Door. Confusion is basically useless here. I really don't like it. Rainbow Pattern I'm also not a huge fan of. I would much rather just see Greater Invisibility and Dimension Door. Most pattern spells suck. If you're going for a save or suck, or like a CC based caster, Rainbow Pattern's not terrible. It's 24 hit die of creatures. You're level 8, so that is going to hit most likely 2, maybe 3 characters within that range. And like I said, Dazed for rounds per level is pretty decent. Considering mythic levels count as hit die. That's true, but also I would not consider Um, no, I wouldn't say most enemies. Maybe in later games, but at this point, like, you got to figure you're level 8. You're not all the way through Dresden yet. So you're not really running into that many mythic enemies at this point. Most enemies are still just standard demons and cultists. So they are not going to be, they're not going to have those bonus levels, those bonus hit die. I could see you getting potentially up to 4 enemies dazed. That would require you to have 4 enemies in there that are level 6. 3 if they are level 8. And then obviously 2 if they are up to level 12. Now, here's the question. Would I cast this over Phantasmal Killer? No, because Phantasmal Killer permanently removes somebody from the fight. Whereas Dazed only removes somebody from the fight for a period of time. Yeah, give me Dimension Door. Gimme Dimension Door. Elemental Focus. I would not take Elemental Focus. I think this is putting too much emphasis into our new evocation spells. I say new. It's only fascinated. That's why I was so. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Fascinated also doesn't. It basically acts as a stun unless that character is attacked. Correct. So as long as your party members aren't just willy-nilly attacking random people and they're focusing on specific targets, Fascination is still pretty decent as a CC. If I'm remembering it correctly. It's been a while since I've played the tabletop, so I could be wrong. We do not have level 5 spells. So at this point, I would like to see Heightened Spell. The instant we have access to level 5 spells, I would like to see Heighten. The instant we have access to level 6, I would like to see Persistent. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. Why focus on fire? We do have Fireball as a level 3 spell. She does not have Ascendant Element yet, no. But we have not gotten our third... We do not have our third mythic level yet either. So we should be picking that after we get this level. Shadow Evocation. What the hell's the other one? Oh. Downcasting to... Okay. Interesting choice. Interesting choice. Any feats we could take to make fantastic? Yeah. Level 5, I would say Animal Growth if you have a party member who has an animal companion. Animal Growth is the single best level 5 spell that you can pick. After that, I would say Phantasmal Web. But yeah, what Afro Guy is saying right now. The ideal use of level 5 spell slots for Nenio is a heightened Phantasmal Killer. You really don't want to be casting too many other spells. Like I said, Animal Growth for any animal companions. Everything else should be Phantasmal Killer. If we had an optimal build and instead of elemental focus fire, we had heightened spell. Or yeah, heightened spell. Improved abundant casting, so we still don't have ascendant element, meaning we still don't have a real reason to cast elemental spells. Because we are, like, at this point, we just beat Dresden. Or, we just entered the castle, right? Abundant casting is fine. Like, honestly, I would say that abundant casting, improved abundant casting, is the better choice here than ascendant element. Because abundant casting gets us more casts of Phantasmal Killer. Which is literally her bread and butter. Like, that is what Nenio is designed for, is Phantasmal Killer. So improved abundant casting is the choice here. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so we just got into Dresden Keep, right? Because Mythic level 3 is when you, or not, when we didn't just get to the keep, right? We just hung up the fucking flag. So we're like halfway through the keep or something like that. Or we're getting pretty close to the end of Dresden. Let's just leave it at that. We're getting pretty close to the end of the Dresden fight. Meaning we have Staunton. I kept wanting to say Joran Vane. I'm like, no, that's his brother. Staunton Vane. The little halfling bitch. Can't even remember her name. The traitor. And Minago. So we have that fight and a couple of weakling demon fights in front of that. I'm trying to think if any of them have fire resistance. I don't know if they do or not. It's been far too long since I've played through that part of the game. I don't remember if they have fire resistance. Regardless, I wouldn't be using it anyway. I would honestly just go big or go home and try to hit them with a Phantasmal Killer, honestly. Interesting. We now take Icy Prison and Hungry Pit. Actually, here's a question. Do any of the characters have an animal companion naturally? I don't think any of them do. That's something that I did not realize. I did not realize that none of the companions naturally come with an animal companion. Huh. At least in Kingmaker, you had the wolf with Ikundayo. Akbo only becomes Akbo if you do his quests. If you don't, it stays as just wolf. And of all of my playthroughs of Kingmaker, only like 4 of them got to the point where he actually named the wolf. Yeah, I don't really care about her level 5 spells. I do really like Icy Prison, but 1, it's an evocation spell. 2, it's ice damage, cold damage, which we don't have elemental focus for. And 3, it's elemental damage, which we don't have ascendant element for. So, not a fan. Hopefully, now that we're hitting level 11, we're gonna get heightened. Fuck. Alright, we get combat casting. We are apparently allergic to meta magic feats on our wizard. What was the auto build where we took like 3 fucking meta magics? Phantasmal Putrefaction. 1d4 points of wisdom damage. Jesus. Wow. And then they fall asleep. Gross. And then again with the downcasting. Acidic Spray. Why? Wait. Igor, it specifies that the damage only occurs once. The wisdom damage only occurs once. So I don't think that they take the wisdom damage after every failed will save after that. Crank your spell DC through the roof and then just cast weird turn 1. Yeah, that's kind of the play. That's kind of actually the play here. So yeah, the way that this is worded is very strange. So it says those who fail to disbelieve Phantasmal Putrefaction immediately take 1d4 points of wisdom damage. This damage occurs only once. But then it also says each round after that, an affected target receives another will save to disbelieve the effect. Targets that fail must succeed at a fort save or faint, falling asleep as per sleep. Waking up doesn't end the spell for a target. It must continue to attempt will saves. So is it every time you fail a will save, you take that wisdom damage? Or is it literally just the first time the spell is cast, they take the wisdom damage? This is worded very unclear. The wording for this is incredibly unclear. But yeah, we get this. We get acid spray for whatever fucking reason. The way that it's worded, it looks like it's literally the first time that it hits. And every other time just continues the potential for the sleep after that. Which actually kind of isn't that great. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't seem to do anything if they keep succeeding at their fort save after the initial wisdom damage, right? So yeah, that's pretty shit, honestly. If that's how that works, that's pretty shit. If that's not how that works, they need to clean up their wording. Okay, so here's Spell Pen Mythic. I kind of agree with this. I kind of agree with Spell Pen Mythic. Ugh, excuse me. Before Spell Focus Mythic, I would like to see both of these at level 4 and level 6. But I think that at level 4, Nenio's save DC is still high enough that Spell Focus Mythic will give her less of a benefit than Spell Pen Mythic. While that is true, Afro, it comes down like you want to have a balance, right? Obviously, you want both of them to be high enough for you to get through consistently, but it doesn't matter if your spell pen is guaranteed if your spell DC can't beat their saves, right? Also doesn't matter if your spell DC is out of this world if you can't get past spell pen. Get rid of all of our evocation BS and put it into illusion 2. The problem is there's only so much that you can put into illusion. What I would have liked to see, I probably would have liked to see spell focus mythic or spell pen mythic, either one. The other one here, and then expanded arsenal evocation here. I know that I said that I was pretty okay with evocation here, but the more I think about it, the more I think that it should be our level 6. Spell focus mythic, spell pen mythic, expanded arsenal. I think that's the order that we should take, but as long as we have spell focus mythic by level 6, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like I said, I think our save DCs are still high enough at this point in the game. Yep, I remember that, Igor. I remember that. And I'm really curious how this build goes, because if I remember correctly, back when Unsung and we did some recordings of going over this. So this is the third time that I've gone through some of these auto builds. We've done it now with me just by myself. We did a few of them with Lore Spire and Unsung in the Finder Path cast pod. And then before that, these were never released, Unsung and I recorded multiple takes where we went over these builds. And if I remember correctly, when we went over Nenio's build, it took advantage of that. And at the time, I thought it was shit because I didn't realize that there was that exploit. But if I remember correctly, she had spell focus conjuration, spell focus evocation, greater spell focus for both of those, and then she took expanded arsenal illusion. If I remember correctly, that was actually her build back in the day, her auto build. Which, considering how trash some other auto builds are, it's kind of funny that they just like went ham and actually took advantage of an exploit for Nenio's. One that I didn't even know about at the time. Still boosting up intelligence, still putting points into these into these. Elemental Assessor. Okay, this is another thing that was brought up to me after my video was released last week. Somebody put in a comment, I can't remember who it was. I apologize to the man who said this. But they said that Elemental Assessor still to this day will trigger fuck, why can't I think? That mythic ability where every time you use a different element, it triggers a dose of divine damage as well. Elemental Barrage, thank you, Afro. See, Igor, you say as it should, but the reason that I specifically say that it's terrible is because I swear to God, there was patch notes a while back where they specified that they removed that from Elemental Assessor because that was broken. And that's not how that's supposed to, because the way that Elemental Assessor is supposed to work is that you hit with all of them at the same time. And the way that it was actually working is that you would hit with one, and then another, and then another, and then another, and then another. And then each time it would trigger it by itself. And so I remember reading in patch notes that they had fixed that they had removed that ability. But this commenter says that that's not true, that he's used it very recently and that it still works. So, because I have not been able to test this myself, I've not been able to confirm that this is the case, I will say that if that is true and you go for an Elemental Barrage build, Elemental Assessor is very, very good. However, if this commenter is mistaken, Elemental Assessor is shit. Don't use it. There we go. Covering my bases. Heroism Greater, very good spell. One of the best buff spells in the game. Unfortunately, Heroism Greater is not, in fact, Phantasmal Killer. So it's not as good as it could be. Unfortunate. Also, unfortunately, we do not have the capacity to get Phantasmal Killer to level 6. Does Elemental Barrage plus Assessor beat out just using Hellfire Ray? It definitely does if you don't have Ascendant Element Fire. Once we get to our next Mythic rank, yeah, we have no Heighten. This is putting way too much focus into spells that we are not great at. We now have a +4 to our Evocation Fire spells. I guess we also have a +4 to our Illusion Fire spells. But these are spells that we should not be casting. We're also taking spells. By the way, we take Shadow Conjuration Greater. And then what the fuck else? We take Acid Fog. Instead of Legendary Proportions. This is yet another build where we get to our level 7 spells and we don't immediately take Legendary Proportions. That is terrible and you shouldn't do this. Don't ever not take Legendary Proportions the instant you get access to level 7 spells. It is the single best buff for any melee character in the fucking game. Take Legendary Proportions. It's really fucking good. We still don't have Legendary Proportions. I still hate the fact that we don't have Legendary Proportions. I like literally none of these spells matter. None of these spells matter. They're terrible. Not a single one of them matters. So we have Greater Abundant Casting. Let me just there we go. Elemental Barrage. So yeah, we would currently be doing 5d6. Wait, is it 5d6? Yeah, we would be doing 5d6 divine damage, so that gets past all resistances, right? For every element that is an elemental assessor. And I believe that's all 5 of them, right? Fire, cold, electricity, acid, and sonic. So we'd be getting hit with it 4 times. So that would be 20d6 divine damage on top of whatever it is that elemental assessor actually does. Which I have not actually looked at what kind of things, what kind of damage elemental assessor does. I do not remember. Doing 30d6 at this level. Half of that is fire damage and gets reduced. The other half is unholy damage, which does not. So you have 15d6 damage. $15d6 damage is unblockable versus 20d6 damage that is unblockable. What the fuck? All right, we're going to talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about that in a second. Elemental Assessor. What does this do? 2d6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it doesn't do Sonic. It doesn't do sonic. So it does acid, cold, electricity, and fire. Okay, so how about you select the enemy instead of your allies? Yeah. Of all of the meta magics that you could choose, there's more to the spell description. All right, we'll go back. The type of energy that does the most persists, dealing 46 points of that damage type per round for 1d4 rounds. That, I think, is far less important. The main thing is this first burst of damage. Here, I'm actually gonna pull up that guy's comment real quick. Give me 1 second. Because I wanna make sure that um okay, he doesn't specify that. Persistent applications also mark the enemy for elemental assessor. This is true. So what he says is here, let me Cold Ice Strike. So here's another thing. I did not ever realize. See this casting time right here for Cold Ice Strike? I did not realize that this was a fucking swift action. So what he suggests, what this commenter suggests, Cold Ice Strike into Elemental Assessor. Which then triggers all 4 of the Elemental Assessor's beams. Wait a second. I mean, I guess we have... What the fuck? Alright. No illusion spell for level 8. So unless we meta magic something, we're not getting access to our illusion spell slot. Okay. Bolster spell. And selective spell. They're both a +1. So wait, we have access to level 8s. What's our level 6s? The Shadow Evocation is a level 5. So this means that we could put both of them in, boost it up to a level 7. And then... And then it still does mediocre damage. Why are you focusing so hard on these elemental spells when Phantasmal Killer is literally better? Excuse me, what the fuck? Why this? Excuse me? What conjuration spells are we fucking using? Hello? Alright. This is fucking stupid. This actually kind of pisses me off. God. This is so dumb. What conjuration spells do we even have? All right, so when we level up again, I'll look at what conjuration spells we even have. I know for a fact that not any of them need to be spell focused. Not even make them hit harder. The snowball's gonna do the damage that it does. The only thing that this does is make it so that you're more likely to stagger the person with it. Oh no. Well, my clouds is conjuration. The problem with the clouds is that they're poison. All of the conjuration clouds are poison. Guess what demons are immune to? This should be spell focus mythic. What I said earlier was, as long as we get spell focus mythic here, all of this is fine. As long as we get spell focus mythic at level 6, her mythic feats and abilities, honestly, like her mythic abilities are also perfectly fine. Abundant, improved, and greater abundant casting. I approve of this for Nenio because she doesn't need to send an element, because she should be focusing on things like Phantasmal fucking Killer, not things like fucking the fucking Shadow Evocation. That one. Couldn't think of the spell name for a minute. I was like really in on her build up to these last 2 levels. Why all of these? Why is Lore Religion still not maxed? What the... Whatever. That's stupid. Oh, hey, Shadow Evocation Greater. Hooray! We get that, and we get Sunburst. All these things that I don't care about. Well, there's Elemental Barrage. We can now use Elemental Assessor. We could actually test this now, if I felt like it. What should she have? Rupture Restraints would be really good for her. Honestly, even on lower difficulties, Nenio is frail enough that I would say even on lower difficulties, Last Stand is not a terrible choice for her. Because she does tend to just explode and die randomly. Master Shapeshifter. Honestly, I like favorite meta magic. If we had, oh no, wait, you can't favorite meta magic persistent. Never mind. Fuck getting favorite meta magic for either of these two. To hell with that. If we had the right meta magics, if we had heighten, and if we had persistent, and if persistent was available for a favorite meta magic, which isn't bolstered, okay. Bolstered adds 2 damage per die rolled for the spell, which isn't terrible. It's actually pretty damn good. However, if we're comparing it to this is more likely to instantly kill the person, an extra 8 damage doesn't really fucking... Yeah, it is one of the better meta magics. I actually undervalue it quite a bit in a lot of my own builds. I do not get bolstered very often, and I should, because it is pretty damn good. The problem is just there's no, we don't have the things. So yeah, we now have elemental barrage on a character that should not be focusing on elemental damage, but for whatever reason, Owlcat has decided, fuck you. Why are you taking all of the meta magics except for the ones that are important for this fucking character? Quicken doesn't mean shit. Fuck you. I hate you. You suck. You suck. You also take shades instead of weird. You take greater shout. Thank you. We got it. It's level 8, but we got spell focus illusion. We did it. All right. Now we just need all of the meta magics. Gimme. There's weird. All right. We did get it. We got it a level late. It was only one level late. But we decided to choose a level 7 spell instead of the best spell that she has access to for her build. But we got there. We did get there. We got there. Everything's fine. Improved initiative. So we now cannot get both heightened and persistent. We now cannot get both heightened and persistent. We get heroic invocation, one of the better spells in the game. It's like AoE, slightly less powerful, greater heroism. She didn't get Hammer the Gap. No, she didn't. She also didn't get toughness, surprisingly enough. Empower? Excuse me, the fuck? I am upset. Wait, how does she have a 31 intelligence? Oh, fuck me running. She has a 31. I forgot. I was like, oh man, she's going to end up with an even intelligence because at the first level that we're looking at, she's got an odd intelligence. I may have forgotten that we were looking at her at level 4 immediately after she had put a point into her intelligence, boosting it up to an odd level. Owlcat. For the love of fuck. For the love of fucking Christ, Owlcat. We had a little blip in the fucking stream there. It's fine. Stop making... Stop. Stop this. Stop this. This needs to stop. Build your characters better. I don't care if the rest of the build sucks. I do. But this is the most fucking triggering thing that you do. And you do it consistently. Stop making it so that the ability scores are odd when you hit level 20. Fucking stop it. Fucking stop it. Fucking stop it. I would rather this be a 30 than a 31. I'd rather this be a 30 and this be a 16. You know why? Because then we get the fucking benefit of both of them. Oh, we only have Mythic Reikane on her. 1 second while I fix this. Alright. Powerful shadows. Okay, so I never really understood what this does. Your shadow spells are 20% more real. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean that even if they disbelieve them, it still does an extra 20% damage? Because I know that it's like a percentage-based damage reduction if they disbelieve the spell. Like, what does this mean? This is vague as fuck. I don't understand this. It deals 20% damage? Yeah, so does this mean that instead of 20% damage, it does 40%? Like, don't say your spells, your shadow spells are 20% more real. Say, if disbelieved, your shadow spells deal 20% extra damage. Or, 20% more damage than normal. So, like, yeah, this is another thing where this is very vaguely worded. And while you might be able, like, you can probably correctly infer what they mean. Yeah, okay, yeah, Igor. That's like the, I wouldn't even say that's the obvious inference. That is, I mean, it probably is the obvious one, but that's not what this says. This says your shadow spells are 20% more real. Which, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what if the people fail their will save? Does this mean that the shadow spells do 120% damage instead of just 100%? Are they more real than the original spell would have been? What does that mean? What does this mean? Be specific with what you say. Brevity doesn't mean shit if it's vague. And then we got school mastery illusion. Okay. I see, like, I'm sure that it doesn't. I'm sure that if they fail their will save, it still just does the normal amount of damage. But again, it's not what that feat says. It's not what that mythic ability says. It just says they're 20% more real. To me, if I was just taking what it said at face value without putting any thought into it, I would believe that my spells should then be doing 20% more damage. No matter what. Hey, Matt, if you're talking about Ulbrig, we're at 7:30 and we just finished our first build of the night. I don't know if we're going to get to it. I apparently had a lot to talk about when it comes to fucking Nenio's build. All right, Daeran. He's a Muse Touch to Zada, Dex, and Charisma. Good. If you repeat, I do believe in fairies, your spell is maximized. Emissary adds Persuasion and Knowledge World. Also becomes proficient with rapiers and bucklers. I don't know if the Oracle normally has... Gotta leave now? Ooh, coward. All right, good night, Igor. Have a good one. Emissary. So I don't know if Oracle normally has Knowledge World in their class skill list. I can't remember off the top of my head. And unfortunately, we can't. I don't know if there's a way for me to look that up. Just in this UI. I know I can look it up in like the fucking the website, but I don't know if I can find that somewhere here. Anyway, persuasion being added to your class list is useless. Rapiers and bucklers is not really that useful because he's going to be mainly using crossbows. Specifically the one that allows you to heal at range. When you have it equipped, taking the place of a fucking mythic ability of all things. You can just equip a crossbow and it takes the place of a mythic ability. Unfortunately, that mythic ability is part of this auto build. I do know that much. We do take selective channeling, which is a good feat to have. If you're gonna, especially with somebody like Daeran, who is going to be having a lot of channel energy cast per day. Having selective channel is really, really important. I don't know if we need the extra channel immediately as well. I think that might be a bit overkill, but fine, I guess. Yeah, we have the life, cure spells, powerless prophecy, which gives us uncanny dodge. Yeah. Safe curing. I'm gonna be honest, I did not know that you had this. I played this game many, many times, did not know that he had this. Never once noticed it. So yeah, this right here, this is why I'm saying that it might be useful for him to have Knowledge World. Oracles are the best healers. I tend to agree. Being a completely charisma-based caster while also scaling channel energy off of charisma as well, it just allows you to double dip and just does really, really good things for your just for the power of the class in general. But yeah, so this Knowledge World, he is one of the better people for Knowledge World. When you can blast. You do need to keep your blasters alive, and they do tend to die fairly quickly, so healers are a little bit important. Again, this is level 4, which means that we started off at level 20. Which means that we are going to have an odd-numbered charisma score at the end of this. Yet again. Thank you, Owlcat, for that. I appreciate it. What the fuck? Spells. So these are far more important than our last 2 spellcasters, because these are the only spells that he's going to have. Cannot learn from scrolls. We cannot get them from any other source. Is only the ones that we've selected. So level 1, Bane, Bless, Cure Light Wounds, Remove Sickness, Shield of Faith. Most of these are decent. And then we immediately take Hold Person. Excuse me. I honestly think that Bull's Strength would probably be my choice for my first level 2 spell on this character. Right? We get the Cure Wounds spells for free, so we don't have to worry about that. Right? Restoration Lesser, maybe. There are a couple of sources of nastiness in like Canabras and stuff like that. So maybe Restoration Lesser. Bull Strength would be the most consistently useful spell that we have access to. We are going to be running multiple strength-based characters. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, how many actual strength-based characters do we have in Chapter 1? If you don't build a strength-based character yourself, is it really just Seela? Because Ulbrig you don't pick up until basically until you're about to leave. Melia is Dex. Lan is a ranged character. Wendu is a ranged character. Woljif is Dex. Ember is a caster. Nenio is a caster. And then Daeran. Wow. I don't know if I ever. Full person works better in Baldur's Gate 3 than Wrath. You need so much spell DC and pen for these types of spells to be worth. Yeah, this is first edition Pathfinder. This is first edition Pathfinder rules. So actually maybe not, because the only person that Bull Strength is going to truly benefit is going to be, well, hello kitty cat. Welcome back. Is going to be Seela at this point in the game, right? If we're looking at picking him up and leveling up while still in Canabras, the only strength-based character that we have is Seela and potentially the main character. If you have built a main character that is strength-based, then I would recommend Bull Strength. If not, probably Restoration Lesser. I probably wouldn't pick Hold Person. Dodge, really? Like, here's the thing about Daeran here. I don't really know what kind of feats would be really useful for him. Don't he get restoration for free? Actually, let's take a look. Cure spells. No. He gets he gets all the cure spells for free, it looks like. Oh wait, never mind. He gets both. He does get Restoration Lesser for free. Okay, I did not realize this. Never mind, then I would probably do you just take Bull Strength Mass regardless? Because that is a +4 to her strength, which is really important. Like, that's a big difference at this point in the game, right? An extra +2 to your strength mod at this early point in the game, like a really big deal. But yeah, like here's the like, yeah, I'm not like, what do you do with Daeran? That he's definitely somebody that I never really know how to build, because you don't really need to build him in any specific way. He's just really fucking good. Dual wield rapiers on a wolf? You're out of your mind. This man never goes even close to melee range for me. Stays back with a fucking uh wow, the word crossbow just fled from my mind for like a good 10 seconds. Um yeah, he just stays away and just shoots with a crossbow. Okay, so level 1 spells. We have hmm. If it ain't broke. Oh, wait, that's right. I fucking give him the ring. I give him the Firecaster ring. And then suddenly he has all the fire spells. And then I pew pew with the fire spells. That's what I do with him. That is Ember's ring. There's a... If you're using Ember, I would say yes. But in my most recent playthrough, I was using Nenio instead of Ember. I feel like it's unnecessary to bring both Nenio and Ember. I think that's a bit redundant. So I only ever have one of them in my group. Usually it's Ember because I do prefer spontaneous casters over prepared casters most of the time. But in my most recent playthrough, I was using Nenio instead. And in that playthrough, I gave the fire ring to Daeran. Plus, Ember gets fucking fire spells through her witch thing that she has. A Bone Shaker isn't terrible. It is guaranteed damage as long as you can get past spell resistance. I don't hate Bone Shaker, but again, I would prefer Bull Strength. I would prefer some kind of buff spell here. You buy it in Act 1, you can get another one in Act 2 or 3. That I actually did not know. Because I usually don't pick that up until Dresden, anyway. Level 3, the first level 3 spell being Prayer. That's not terrible. You getting away? You running away, kitten? Bye, buddy cat. Delay Poison Communal, I think is that necessary level 6? We're about to leave Canopris. There's not really that many poisons. Yeah, I'd say Prayer is probably more useful as a first level 3 spell. I would probably choose that first, yeah. That's fine. And then here's the thing. This is just replaced with that crossbow I was talking about earlier. There's a crossbow that does the exact thing, except it doesn't heal the extra when you're using cure spells. The only difference. So like for this, if you're a level 15 character and for whatever reason you're using Cure Light Wounds, you'll do 1d8 plus 15 if you have this instead of 1d8 plus 5. But also if you're level 15, just fucking use heal. Yeah, I don't really like boundless healing because that crossbow just exists. You just get it. Just get that crossbow and you can do that without having to dedicate an entire fucking thing here. Obviously you could take abundant casting here instead. Enduring spells, and then greater enduring spells obviously later on. Second mystery. Get you second mystery nature. so that you can get that fucking, get that animal companion, get that wolf. All of those would be better than Boundless Healing. Don't like Boundless Healing. I feel like it is a waste. Spell penetration. Healing is a waste. I would say that for most fights, healing during the fight is a waste. Because you will most likely be taking far more damage than you can possibly heal. That much I will agree with. Unless you have heal or mass heal. If you have heal or mass heal, once you get that, especially mass heal, once you get mass heal, you're gonna out heal everything. As long as you can get the spell off, you're gonna out heal any source of damage. Unless you literally get one shot. Not sure I've ever felt like I've needed to spec into healing for out of combat healing. That's true. The only things that I would say I felt the need to spec into for out of combat healing is things like extra channel, because especially in early game you can definitely run out of channel positive energy, especially for new people, people that don't have their perception quite high enough, people that don't see traps early enough and run into them, taking a whole bunch of AoE damage. Like, getting extra channel early on, I really agree with. It does become somewhat redundant as you level up and as you get more and more casts of channel positive energy. But getting it early is super helpful. Right click, channel energy, mass heal, easy game even on impair. Yeah. Agreed. Um Unbreakable Heart is good. I underplay how good it is a lot of the times. A lot of the time, I think of it as just a buff spell that only lasts rounds per level. I kind of forget about the reactive aspect of it, where you can cast this and remove the confusion effect on somebody. Um, I will totally admit that. It is a very good spell if used that way, especially on a spontaneous caster where you don't have to worry about prepping it beforehand. We are now multiple level 2 spells in. This is our 5th level 2 spell. The 3rd that we've actually been able to choose. And we still don't have any kind of like bull strength or bear's endurance or any of those. +2 morale bonus and saving throws against fear effects that the target. You already had. Wait. Wait. How is this? Wait, what the fuck? This level 2 spell is literally just worse than remove fear. Except it gives you a reroll. Which rerolls are powerful. But you're re-rolling with the bonus that you would have from the get-go if you just used remove fear instead. And until level 10, remove fear is also a longer duration. Excuse me? Why are we taking this? Why is Blessing of Luck and Resolve ever useful? This is trash. I hate this. I hate this. Get bull strength, goddammit. Stop fucking not getting bull strength. Resist energy communal. I'm okay with this. This is fine. I would like to see delay poison communal at some fucking point. The fact that we don't have it yet is hurting my soul. Also, I don't think I even looked at combat healer. Let's actually look at this. Casted as a swift action by expending 2 spell slots. No, thank you. Mythic channeling. This, I would say that this is really fucking strong for Daeran. Like, insanely strong for Daeran. This basically makes his channel positive energy not quite as, but almost as good as the heal spell. Because you could very easily get him to like a plus 12 or a plus 16 on his charisma, which then gets doubled into like a plus 24 or a plus 32 on his channel positive energy to heal. Or do damage if you're actually fighting undead for the fucking 2 times that you ever fight undead in this game. So mythic channeling, I definitely like it a lot on him. And considering the fact that like I don't really know how to, like I said, I don't really know how to build him, so I'm kind of just like, yeah, this is kind of what I usually do, kind of a thing. Putting more points into charisma, yep. Still boosting up all those, yep. Freedom of movement. I guess that's fine. Right. I guess that's fine. Let's go back here. Do you get restoration? Yes, you do. Okay. No point in taking restoration because we get it for free. Death Ward is... Oh, yeah, he does need freedom. But we're level 8 at this point. Oh, no, we're not. So, once we get to... Fuck is it? Green Gates, where you fight the hag, and, Urushley actually joins the party. Or, no. Yeah, where Urushley actually joins the party. Once you get there, you never have to use freedom of movement on him again, because there is the boots of free reign, I believe they're called, where they just give you a constant freedom of movement effect. Once you do that, this spell drops off hard for him because it's literally useless. But for right now, yeah, it's really important. Also, it's 10 minutes per level, so it's a one and done. Okay. But why, though? But why this, though? But why this, though? Protection from alignment communal. This is kind of a waste at this point. You're level 9. You're most likely going to have +2 rings on a lot of the people that need them at this point, and +1 rings on everybody else. If that's actually all of the fucking reasoning that they used for it, that's really shit. I do see a spell that I'm really happy about right here. We finally got Delay Poison Communal. This means that for the rest of the fucking game, we never have to worry about a poison, ever. And we do get Death Ward at level 4. Okay, so this is pretty alright. We do have Animate Dead. that we have access to, and it's a lower level spell than normal. Animate Dead is usually a level 4 spell, but here it's level 3. So that's actually really interesting. Yeah, I disagree with Protection from Alignment Communal. I definitely agree with Delay Poison Communal, and I'm perfectly fine with Death Ward as well. What do we get at level 3? Enduring spells. Okay, so we are boosting up our durations. That's really good with him. He is definitely a buff bot, and getting enduring spells and greater enduring spells is definitely a good choice for him. So I approve. We then get Break Enchantment. Is this a good choice for our very first level 5 spell? Misa thinking no. True Seeing could be useful. Bone Shatter. I mean, we have spell focused necromancy. Bone Shatter isn't a terrible spell, honestly. Actually, this spell's pretty damn good. I did not realize that it had the exhaustion slash fatigued aspect to it. I thought it was just strictly damage. That's actually really interesting. Even if it succeeds at its save, it's still fatigued. Basically forever. Because we're level 10. Show me a fight in this game that lasts for 10 minutes. Like a single fight where a single enemy survives for 10 minutes. Yeah, and especially if we're we are. Why? Wait, like literally why? Literally why? What is how many necromancy spells do we even have? Because as far as I know, we literally only have Bone Shaker. Right? Yeah, no level 1s, only Bone Shaker for level 2. No level 3. Death Ward, but that's not something that requires spell focus. But why? Why greater? Wait, what the fuck? I mean, it is literally the only offensive spell that we have. Isn't there a Necrotype ring? There's like a fear one. Here, let's look up. Rings, Wrath of the Righteous. It'll take a minute. Oh, Jesus. So yeah, there's one Rave of Feeblement, Scare, Rave Exhaustion, Fear, Waves of Fatigue. Um, no. No. Vein of Flesh? No. Unholy Signet? No. Yeah, I'm not seeing one. It's like a Bone Shaker, Bone Shatter equivalent for like the ring of fucking the Red Salamander or something like that. The closest that I can find is Dark Omen, which gives us a couple of necromancy spells, but it's things like Rave Enfeeblement, Rave Exhaustion, Fear, and Waves of Fatigue. Scare. Nothing that's like super important. So I'm going to say nay. So yeah, we have a total of 1 offensive spell. It's a level 2 spell. It's a good one. I like Bone Shaker as an offensive spell. But it's not worth fucking 2 feats. So we get resist energy, we get remove curse, protection from energy, communal, breath of life. Yes. I'm just incredibly confused as to what the fuck they're trying to do with this guy. All right, so we have greater enduring spells now. Really? They just said fuck your mythic feats, huh? They're not tripling down on spell focus mythic necromancy yet. Inspiring recovery. Our first level 6 spell? We get heal for free. Hellfire Ray is an option. So here's the thing. Banishment in a campaign where you are fighting fairly consistently against demons, banishment would normally be really, really fucking good. Really fucking good. The problem about to go to the abyss. We're about to go to the abyss very, very soon, right? And because of that, banishment is useless until we get out of the abyss. Another problem is Threshold, the final area, is also considered to be a part of the abyss, meaning banishment won't work there. So the only thing that banishment here is going to be useful for is smaller fights on the overworld, fights in which is actually a fairly decent chunk of the chapter that you come back to when you come back from the abyss. You know, banishment does actually do a fair bit, but like a lot of the areas in this game, banishment just won't work on because you're in the abyss. But if we're talking about other spells that we could be choosing outside of Inspiring Recovery, because we do already have Breath of Life, so Inspiring Recovery is a bit redundant. It's a little bit better, but it's not that much better that I would say that we need to pick it. We could do Dispel Magic Greater. I'm actually going to turn that off entirely. Any of the mass spells, Bull Strength Mass, Bear's Endurance Mass, Eagle Splendor Mass, stuff like that. Hellfire Ray I mentioned. But if we have the Fire Ring, I think we also just get that for free. But I'm also not entirely sure if we get that at level 6 or level 7 because of the Fire Ring. I can't remember. All right, so we finally get Greater Spell Pen. We got Spell Pen at level 7, and then we decided to focus on Spell Focus Necromancy for some reason. But we finally got Greater Spell Pen, and we still don't have a single other Necromancy spell outside of Bone Shaker. Shield of Dawn, Raise Dead, Blade Barrier. Raise Dead is really important. If you have Daeran in your party, he is going to be your healer. Oh, this... Oh my god. I have forgotten to have my fan on this whole day, and it is actually pretty fucking warm in this room right now. Yeah. Daeran is our healer in the party, so having Raised Dead is very important. And the fact that I didn't actually realize that we had gone so long without getting Raised Dead. Like, we have Break Enchantment before we got Raised Dead. Kind of a problem. Kind of a problem. Blade Barrier. I really hate Blade Barrier, but that's mainly because I tend to run into the Blade Barrier traps. Whenever I would do, How bad did they massacre Daeran? We have Spell Focus and Greater Spell Focus Necromancy with only one Necromancy spell in the entire build. That being Bone Shaker. And we have no way to get it out of level 2 spell slot either. We have no meta magics to get it to a higher spell slot or anything like that. We also don't have abundant casting either. So that's, yeah. We basically, oh, also we have spell penetration and greater spell penetration, despite the fact that we only have one offensive spell. 2 now. We actually have Blade Barrier, so we now have 2 offensive spells. Oh my god, do we have a second necromancy spell? Holy shit, we do. Look at this. We did it. We only had to wait till level 14. And it's also a shit spell because it requires you to be a higher caster level than your target's hit die, which is not going to happen in this game at this point. Everybody that you run across is going to have a higher hit die than any one of your casters, meaning this spell that they just chose is fucking useless. Oh wait, I'm sorry, for whatever reason I was looking at a different spell. I apologize. Ignore what I just said. Never mind. This is just straight up damage. This is worse than if you had just taken Ascendant Element and used Hellfire Ray, though. Right? Maybe not. If you can get past their fort save... If you can get past their fort save, this will do more damage than a Hellfire Ray. But it is a fort save. Means you're most likely not going to be able to. But we do finally have another oh man, look at that. Level 5, we're finally getting abundant casting. Selective? Why? From what? What are we selecting? What is this feat? Why are we... What is this? None of our spells, unless you're counting fucking Cure Serious Wounds, or Blade Barrier, I guess? Are we going selective Blade Barrier? What is this choice? I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Yeah, there's literally no spell that I would want to selective besides Blade Barrier. It's literally the only one. And by the way, it's an evocation spell, not a necromancy spell, so we have no spell focus on this whatsoever. Enhanced Cures. The maximum number of hit points healed is based on your Oracle level, not the limit based on the spell. For example, an 11th level Oracle of Life with this revelation may cast Cure Light Wounds to heal 1d8 plus 11 hit points, instead of the normal 1d8 plus 5. So remember how I said earlier when we got the our first, whatever the fuck it is, the Cure at Reach mythic ability? Remember how I said that the only thing that the mythic ability did that the crossbow that you can get for free in Act 3 does not do is it allows you to use your full caster level on cure spells. We now have access to that without using a mythic ability, meaning that that mythic ability can be replaced by a revelation and a crossbow, which are far less important than the mythic abilities, the very limited mythic abilities that we have access to. Meaning, we could now have access to improved abundant casting, or spell pen mythic, or spell focus mythic, or any number of other mythic feats and or abilities, instead of getting that stupid fucking healing one at mythic rank 1. It is officially useless. It is officially useless. Boo garbage. Burst of Glory I don't care about. Blessing of Luck and Resolve. Still just fucking you have a level 1 spell that's better. Resurrection. I still don't know why you would use Resurrection. Burst of Glory. Area this spell at the time of casting gain a +1 sacred bonus on attack rolls and saves against fear effects. +1 temporary hit. Oh, it's a sacred bonus on attack rolls. Oh. I didn't, for whatever reason, I thought this was a morale bonus. That's why I didn't give a fuck. That's why I didn't care about Burst of Glory. I thought it was a morale bonus, not a sacred bonus. Okay. That is actually quite a bit better than I thought it was. It is unfortunately only rounds per level, but it is an AoE 10-foot burst, which isn't that great. Means that you would definitely have to group up your party really fucking tight to be able to get the best use out of it. But you could do that pretty easily with just, you know, your normal formations. Okay. Yeah, the fact that it's a sacred bonus is really good. There's very few sources of sacred bonuses that are not personal spells, right? Most of the sacred bonuses are something like Eagle Soul or something like that, where it's a personal buff spell. It does not help whenever you are not the one that's fighting people, really. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I can definitely see that. This is, yeah, I would say that this is actually a really good spell. A hell of a lot better than I originally thought. Simply because of that one word change. This still sucks. Still worse than Remove Fear, which is a level 1 spell. Fuck that. Resurrection. This is another one where I don't understand it. I don't know why you would ever choose Resurrection over just Raise Dead. I don't get it. Like, no, Raise Dead is still, it's 1 diamond instead of 2. So Raise Spell or Raise Dead is 1 diamond, Resurrection is 2. Diamond Dust is things like Restoration and Greater Restoration. Because like if you're casting Raise Dead, you're not going to be casting Raise Dead in combat, right? I've never been killed by disintegration, and I don't think, because I've never needed to use Resurrection ever in all of my fucking 800 hours of playing Kingmaker, my 600 plus hours in this game. I have never once needed to use Resurrection. Every single character that has ever died in any of my playthroughs I've been able to resurrect with just Raise Dead. You see, this is a shitty healing spell. Yeah, because like this gains 2 permanent negative levels. That's not true. Um, yeah, you could literally just cut this off after this first paragraph. None of the rest of this actually happens. None of the rest of this actually happens. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Resurrection is just a more expensive Raise Dead. It doesn't do anything different. The only difference is I think Raise Dead doesn't... No, Raise Dead brings you back at full health. What the fuck? Whatever. Resurrection sucks. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Even if it does raise you back at full health instead of at, like, low health, like Raise Dead would. If Raise Dead actually, does what it says at all. You're not going to be raising dead in the middle of combat, which means that you could just take another round or two to heal the motherfucker back up to full health. I have never had negative levels when I use raise dead on somebody. I've never once had negative levels when I use that. Did you just test that, Matt? Yeah, if you're playing with any mods, make sure that you turn those off before you test stuff like this, because I am speaking specifically about the base game. Only mod that I currently have active is Toy Box, and that's just so that I can respec these characters. I don't have any extra effects turned on. We now have Spell Focus Mythic Necromancy for the 2 Necromancy spells. In Lore Spire, get a bunch of negative levels. I mean, you could get negative levels from other things. I've never... I can test it here in a minute. Because we're definitely not going to have enough time to get all 3 of these characters done. We only have 40 minutes left, and we're not even done with Daeran yet. I'm not going to be able to get all the way through Ulbrig's stuff as well. So we can test that before we end the stream. Okay, so we finally have a 3rd Necromancy spell. Hooray. 1d6 points of damage per caster level. Was he playing a modded version of the game? No? Weird. So what I'll do is first I will test it on normal difficulty, and then I'll bump it up to unfair to see if maybe it's a difficulty difference. But back to this particular build, we now have a, like I said, we now have a 3rd now I have a 3rd necromancy spell. This is a spell that I would recommend getting selective for. Unfortunately, we can't use selective right now because it's a level 8 spell. And this is the maximum spell that we can, like, we can't cast level 9 spells. So, unless we get favored meta magic selective, we can't cast that spell selectively yet. And unfortunately, instead we chose improved abundant casting, which I say unfortunately. There's you know, a giant asterisk next to that. Because I do like improved abundant casting. Improved initiative. Interesting. Restoration greater. At this point, we have access to mass heal. I'm sorry, we don't have access to heal. We have access to fucking mass heal at this point. Greater restoration. Does actually get rid of... Okay, so greater restoration does actually get rid of drain. Ability score drain, not just damage. Whereas heal does not get rid of ability drain. So that's fine. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Wait, do we not get this for free? Wait. Hold up. Yeah, we get this for free. Why are we choosing this? We get restoration greater for free. Why are we picking this as a spell? That's fucking stupid. Choose literally anything but greater restoration because you get this anyway. Literally any other spell would be better than restoration because we already get this. Angelic aspect greater makes sense, like in a fucking like in a RP sense, I guess, because he is an ASMR. But I'm also not a huge fan of angelic aspect. I would much prefer him to get frightful aspect. It gives actual benefits that would help. Yeah, I would definitely take frightful aspect over angelic aspect. It actually fits his personality a bit better. You know, he is not a good person. Despite that he he doesn't even want to be, he doesn't even care about being seen as a good person. So yeah, I would definitely just pick frightful aspect over angelic. Frightful aspect just gives so many better fucking benefits. We get spell pen mythic, that's fine. Greater abundant casting is also fine. And then, so this, I know that we have mass heal already, but that's at level 8. Well, I guess we could selective mass heal to get it to bump up to level 9. And that would allow us to choose energy drain here instead. Sorry. Yeah, I think that's probably a better double mass heal. Yeah. Yeah, you get mass heal 1 level lower than normal with Daeran. Yeah, I'm just gonna take Ulbrich off of the fucking title because we're not getting to Ulbrich today. There we go, fixed it. We did it. Nobody can prove otherwise except for the fucking thumbnail. But yeah, mass heal, probably the best spell that you have access to here. We do have it already, and we do also have selective meta magic, so I would probably do that over choosing it again. That way we could get energy drain right now. What is your will save, sir? Why? Of all of the save feats to take, why would you take it on somebody who has such a... Why? Why? Why Iron Will? Why this one? Why not literally any of the either of the other two? Give me either of the other two. Give me toughness. Give me wings. Give me literally anything but Iron Will. That's stupid. His will save is fine. He doesn't need a better one. Get out of here. Maybe you have time for Trevor. The problem is we still have to go through all 20 levels and all 10 mythic levels. This is shit. It's only for one round. Rift of Ruin isn't terrible, especially because we can oh wait, never mind. We don't have Frightful Aspect yet. Fuck this. Skip Frightful Aspect. Summon Monster 9 is fucking terrible. We have multiple feats focusing on Necromancy. Why do you not choose the Necromancy spell, you stupid fucking game? What the fuck? Why? Why? What the fuck, man? Of all of the fucking spells that you have access to at level 9, Energy Drain, Overwhelming Presence, Polar Midnight, Winds of Vengeance, and Summon Monster 9. Those are the spells that you have to choose from. Those 5. There is one that is obviously the weakest of them all, and that's the one that they chose. Why? I want to talk to the people that made these builds. I want to talk to them. Why did you choose this? Why did you decide to pick literally the worst option? The actual worst option. It's fine. Everything's fine. Improved Initiative Mythic. Improved Initiative Mythic is incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. Especially if you can kill people quickly. You had another chance. Owlcat, you had another chance. You had another chance to get Energy Drain. But you didn't. But you didn't. Picked Overwhelming Presence instead. I don't understand. So I will push back just a little bit, Matt. They made him a completely useless healer up until level 7, I would say. They gave us a damaging spell at level 7 that they have put feats and points into. Same at level 8. We have Soul Reaver at 8. We have Destruction at 7. We do not have Energy Drain at 9. Is it great? No, it's not. It's not great. Does he get carried? Are you talking about this one? DC 31? While that's true, for Fort in particular, yeah, this is true. But here's the like, if we look at this, like, this one is Fortitude for half, so you're still doing a decent chunk of damage. This one, again, you're taking 10d6 points of damage. So even if they succeed at their save, you are still getting partial damage. It's not like you lose out on everything. Um, Oh, interesting. If you hit somebody with energy drain, they don't get a save against the initial negative levels. Only be doing 10d6 with that spell with or without the spell. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But if you, especially, okay, so like with Soul Reaver though, I would not be using this against like boss fights. I would be using this against like trash mobs, right? This AoE, I would be starting the fight with a Soul Reaver, seeing if I can pick off any of them uh right off the bat, right? Seeing if I could do enough damage with any of these with this spell. And even if I don't pick any of them off, I'm still going to do a decent chunk of damage to everybody in that range to start the fight with. Like, what I would probably do is, because I would probably have this guy matched up with Nenio, I would have them both cast these spells, like Nenio with Weird, Daeran with Soul Reaver. I would have them probably cast the spell at the same time. And anybody that survived Weird would get hit by Soul Reaver, and even if they save against Soul Reaver as well, they're still taking basically 10d6 damage. Which isn't like an insane amount of damage, but if, 4 people get hit by it, that is a pretty decent chunk that's taken off of that fight, right? Um so we're done now. We're done with this. We are going to test a thing now. Why do I have a full party following me around in Dresden? This never happens. What happened here? I am going to rest everybody just because I want to make sure that Daeran has his spell slots. All right, we're going to kill one of our people. We are going to kill one of our people. We're going to test this. Yeah. Don't care. Ow! Hi, kitten. We'll go to the wedding meadow. It's close. Testing time. We're going to see if the base game puts negative levels on you, which I have never seen before with Raised Dead. Hey, baby girl. How you doing? All right. Nenio. Oh, shit. All right. Who has the weakest fort save? Take a look. Fortitude 15, 22, 13, 27, 36. All right. Give me Woljif. Woljif, you get to die. Congratulations. Oh, shit. I forgot about the will save. All right, let's try this again. Oh, no, he died. Wait. All right. Right again. Die. All right, now I don't feel like looking through the fucking skill list. Ray's dead. Oh, he does have one. Interesting. Okay. Wait, what? Oh, there were. Oh, god damn it! All right. Okay. So he did have one on unfair. Let's go back to normal. I wonder if it's additional enemy behaviors, which would be really interesting. That additional enemy behaviors changes how death works. Oh my god. Should have turned off Death's Door. It is a difficulty thing, which is why I never noticed it. Okay. So when you're playing on harder difficulties, you do get the negative levels. But if you're playing on normal difficulty, I wonder... Here, let's go into options. Difficulty. Death's Door off. Or here, let's go back to normal. Turn this off. Turn this on. Alright, so this is just additional enemy behaviors. No, it's not additional enemy behaviors. So what option is it? None of these options state anything at all about... Because if we just go off of this, the only changes are Death's Door and additional enemy behaviors. If we apply this, and then we go up to unfair. Yeah. What changes? Critical hits, Death's Door goes off, auto level up goes off, moderately stronger enemies, damage to party is ×2, number of enemies is increased, enable character retrain. So yeah, there's literally nothing here. Characters suffer double damage. There are more enemies than usual. They are extremely strong, inflict the usual damage on critical hits. Some enemies use additional spells and combat abilities. Your character will die upon suffering a deadly injury. Game is over. If a companion dies, raise dead or similar spell. Extremely expensive service unavailable to most adventurers. Huh. It literally does not tell you that there is going to be negative levels on Raise Dead. Okay, now... Oh, wait, sorry. If we go back to unfair, right? We kill again. And this time we use Resurrection. No negative level. Okay. And he does come back at full health, whereas with Raised Dead, he comes back at low health. Okay. This poor guy. He's died and come back like 5 times in the last 5 minutes. That's really weird that there's absolutely no indication anywhere that you're suddenly going to start getting negative levels if you play on higher difficulties and you die. I literally just never... Because, like, in all of my hours of Kingmaker, I've only gone through it on Unfair once, and it was my Kingmaker speedrun. Still, to this day, my most popular video on this channel. Worth the extra diamonds still? Now, here's the question. Is 2 negative levels... So, if we cast Restoration, right? That's 2 diamond dust. Is 1 diamond worth 4 diamond dust? And 2 spell slots? There is an answer. And it's no. Like, why would you use an extra diamond to bring somebody back without 2 negative levels when you can get that back with 2 casts of Restoration? Or, with 1 cast of Greater Restoration... where is Greater Restoration? No, that's Heal. Here. Which is 10 diamond dust. If it's mid-boss battle, though... I have not, personally, ever tried to bring somebody back in the middle of a boss fight. I don't think. I don't think I've ever done that. Not saying that I've never had people die, because I definitely fucking have. But I don't think I've ever tried to bring somebody back in the middle of a... Doesn't have a long cast time. It is full round. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Restoration. Resurrection is full round. I think they're all full round actions. Now, you can't... Now, I have tried to use, like, Breath of Life in combat. I have tried that. It never fucking works. So I stopped trying that. So yeah, I have done stuff like that, but I have not ever tried to use something like Raised Dead on somebody in the middle of combat, I don't think. And even if I had... The big departure, it's supposed to be 1 minute. There's no such thing as a 1 minute cast in these games. Come on. Come on, you know better than that. Am I currently on... What? I'm on Unfair. Okay. I do want to test one more thing. Oh, wait, no. Actually, I could just do this here. All right, we're going to prep up a whole bunch of spells on him. He's got a whole bunch of spells prepped up. All right. We're going to kill him. And we're going to bring him back with Raised Dead, not Resurrection. Does he have his spell slots? He does. He's at a -2. He's got the 2 negative levels, but he has all of his spell slots that were already prepared. Because that is another one of the things that Resurrection claims to be able to do. Upon completion of the spell, the creature is immediately restored to full hit points, vigor, and health, with no loss of prepared spells. Now, if there is no loss of prepared spells with Raised Dead, that last bit of the sentence would not be necessary, right? Because this does not mention anything about spells. So the spell thing is unnecessary. You still have all of your spells that you already have prepped. It doesn't repair, it doesn't like re-prep your spells if you've already cast them or if you haven't actually like rested since you selected those spells. But yeah, that's just how that is, I guess. But yeah, I do so believe that that's going to be it for me today, guys. Tomorrow I'm going to be trying a thing. We are going to be doing more AT-AT build tomorrow. But anybody that's in my Discord may have seen a couple of messages that I sent this morning. Last night, or actually this morning, I watched The Force Awakens. It's the first time I've seen that movie since 2016. And what I did while I was watching is I took notes on every single time that something lucky or unlucky happened. And what I mean by lucky or unlucky, I mean that this is not something that follows a logical chain of events, logical cause and effect. It's just, oh man, we are really fortunate that this happened to happen at this point in time. My list by the end of the movie is 106 points long. Now, some of those points are not that big of a deal, but they're still there. Plot armor along with many other things. There are over 4 pages of bullet points, 106 of them in total. Some of them are small, some of them are fucking massive. And I will be going over them tomorrow as we build up our AT-AT even more. I can't wait. That movie is trash. Guys, once you start looking at just how little actually makes sense, just how little goes off of simple cause and effect, and they just do it because it needs to happen because the plot requires it. Oh my god, that movie's bad. And I hope to do that with the other movies in the sequel trilogy as well, because they're not good either. So just for a frame of reference, I believe it was when Poe and Finn meet, I was already at 30. Oh, I'm sorry. It was when Han meets up with Finn and Rey. When Han meets up with Finn and Rey, they just got off of Jakku, and I was at 30. But anyway, that's going to be tomorrow. Thursday, I'll be off. Friday, we will be doing Marowak. A Marowak solo run in Pokemon. We are not randomly rolling this week. I have decided what Pokemon we're going to be playing all week, and it is going to be the Spooky Mons. Did I watch Hunter x Hunter? I've never watched that show. No, I've not. I don't tend to watch too many TV shows because I don't really have the time to invest in something that's that long. Yeah, I have not seen that one. But yeah, for Pokemon's this month, this week will be Marowak. Next week will be Golbat, because Golbat is bat and bats are spooky. And then the final week will be Gengar. We will be doing and with Gengar we will have a full set of all 3 Pokemon in an evolution chain here on the YouTube channel. Then Saturday, I don't know. Oh, actually, that is another announcement. I put this out in a text post on the channel, but I want to mention it here as well. I will not be continuing Baldur's Gate 3. Anybody that's paid attention and may have noticed, I've been kind of shit at actually making it to my Saturday streams as of late. And a large part of that is because I just have no real desire to play Baldur's Gate. The game did not hook me in. Like, I wasn't having a bad time, but I wasn't really enjoying myself that much. So I will be abandoning that playthrough because I was just not into it, really. I think a main reason for that is just I wasn't feeling any actual progression happening as I played. I felt like every time I went in, I'm like, I'm good. And like, part of it's me. Part of it is just the fact that I am so easily distracted. But it's like, it's kind of the same reason why I never finish a Skyrim playthrough is because I get distracted and then I get distracted from the distraction. Then I get distracted from that. And then I never actually get back to the original quest. And I think that the simple fact that I don't feel like I'm making any actual progress through the game is kind of what's killing it for me. Despite the fact that I might actually be making progress. I don't fucking know. But the fact that I don't know kind of helps make my point for me. The fact that I don't know if I'm actually making progress through the main story quest, or if I'm doing a side quest, or what the hell's going on, I think kind of proves what I'm saying here. But yeah, that's the point that I'm trying to make. But here's the other thing. I don't actually know what I'm playing on Saturdays anymore. I have not decided yet. I have a couple of ideas. If you have an idea, what I recommend is if you have a request or recommendation or anything like that, you find the community post that I made about it, and you leave a comment on that community post. You let me know what you would like to see me play. I do not make any promises as to whether or not I will actually play what is recommended, but yeah, put it there and I might choose it. But yeah, I'm gonna go because it is actually now almost the normal quitting time. So yeah, I'm out of here. Thank you everybody for hanging out and watching. I appreciate y'all as always. And as always, I hope you all enjoyed the stream. I hope you all have a good evening, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.